Blog Talk Radio.
If there's a question of my heart, you got it. It don't belong to anyone but you. Hey, if that's a question of my love, you got it. Baby, don't worry, I got plans for you. Yeah, baby, I've been making plans. Oh, love, baby, I've been making plans for you. Yeah, baby, I've been making plans. Baby, I've been making plans.
My sincerest apology. I mean it. Look, I'll admit it, albeit pathetic, that I'm in my late 20s, still never been to a wedding. Guess the idea of that lobby empty. Do not sit with me, Will. It's not your.
Hey, y'all. Happy New Year. Hope you all had a great holiday season. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's special episode of Real Talk with Nancy. It's 9 p.m., and I'm talking to you live from the tri-state area. And I took a little bit of a hiatus towards the end of 2015 because, as some of you may know, I gave birth to a new baby girl who is now 2 months old. But Real Talk is back with a vengeance, and we're ready to take 2016 by storm. Now, because of tonight's subject matter, I anticipate that we're going to have a lot of listeners and callers who may want to chime into tonight's discussion. For those of you who have a question or a comment, please feel free to call in. We really want to hear what the listeners are thinking. We want to know your thoughts, your opinions. So our call-in number is 347-989-1140. Now make sure to press the number 1 after you dial in so that you can get put into the caller's queue. Now, for those of you who may be shy and don't want to be on air, you can still post your question or comment in our chat room at www.blogtalkradio.com/Real Talk with Nancy. Now, without any further ado, I want us to get right into it. So in the studio tonight, I have Maria Rodriguez Morales, a.k.a. BK Ryder, and this is a woman of many talents. Maria, thank you for joining us. I want to let my listeners, I want to give them a little brief bio about who you are and what you do. So for those of you not familiar with her, she is a writer, educator, curator, poet, and the pen behind one of the hottest blogs of the year, bkryder.com. In a word, she is a beast at what she does. And her latest essay, The Cardi-B Effect, Why Women Love to Hate on the Bad Bitch, has been creating quite the buzz across the internet. So Maria, again, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I really just want to dive into this topic because we only have you for 30 minutes, and I know that this conversation is going to spark a lot of interest. Okay, so for those of you who may not be familiar with Cardi B, she is a cast member on this season's Love and Hip Hop New York, and she is a 23-year-old stripper. She is half Dominican,
ex-stripper.
half
I don't think she's stripping anymore.
Okay, so ex-stripper. she made her name. You know, that's how she made her name. So she's not stripping anymore, or so she may not be. And this is a young woman whose personality is very sassy. It's very intriguing. Despite whatever opinion you may have of her, you can't help but be drawn to her. She has the type of attitude you'd expect of any young woman who grew up in the hood with the odds stacked against them. So in short, she has that, and excuse my French here, I don't give a fuck type of attitude. right?
Exactly.
It's safe to say. So, Maria, I really wanted to talk with you tonight because, like I said, your essay has been receiving a lot of attention lately.
It has.
So, when you wrote the essay, did you expect that it would garner so much attention, that people would be talking about it the way they have been?
Well, it's funny because usually when I think about the kind of material that I want to create a blog post around, I go to pop culture and things that are, in the headlines or that are creating a buzz in our society. And with Love and Hip Hop, it's either a hit or miss for me. I'm not an avid fan. I don't tune in every season. It's really a hit or miss. But for some reason, I tuned in with cardi-b. Like, I saw the preview and I was like, who is this chick? Like, loud, ratchet, brazen,
right.
in your face. Like, you're going to remember my name. And I was like, okay, like, I'm going to tune in forever. So,
okay. All right. So
I checked it out. Yeah,
okay.
I didn't know. I checked out the previews or whatever. And for some reason, last Monday, after I saw the first episode, I was quite enamored with her. And on Monday, I was like, you know what? Aside from Monday, I was hitting up the blog circuit, shaderoom.com, and just a few other internet social media pages and blogs. And I saw that, aside from having her love on her fan page because she's well followed and she's, she really created her own lane on social media, but there were a lot of people hating against her, whether it was, about her teeth or whether it was about the way she talked or, being uneducated or classless or just all these names that, she was being called. And I was like, you know what? Why is it that women love to hate on the bad bitch? And I knew right off the jump that even having the word bitch in my blog post
in your
as
title,
was going to cause controversy because the word bitch has such a negative connotation behind it that I knew that it would get people riled up, whether it was women, mostly
right.
women, but also men as well.
Well,
so that's where
riled up it did because some of the comments, that have been posted on your blog and on your social media pages address, one, the word bitch, because for women who are feminists, they take offense, to that word in itself.
But it also, some feminists, because I don't want to, feminism is such a huge umbrella.
Yes.
And so, there are some feminists, old school feminists and the ones that came before us and the pioneers of the movement that really take, the negative connotation behind the word bitch and it pisses them off. And then there's this new wave of feminism that, we're trying to put power behind the word bitch and kind of take it back. You know what I'm saying? So when we say bad bitch, we're like, we're what's popping, we're making money, we're educated, we're out there getting our hustle on. And when we say bad bitch, most of the time we mean hustler. And whether you're, depends what your hustle is,
So,
and I think that's what.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, and I think that's where we actually misconstrue the kind of power that is behind this word bitch, depending on what you're hustling for or towards.
Right. I guess in a way you can say that the word, both words, bad and bitch, they're really subjective, and it depends on, the listener or the reader or whoever is looking at the term and how they themselves identify with that. Because for one person, the term bad bitch may be a word, maybe a term of empowerment, and they're taking the power back from that. And then for others, they don't want to be compared to a female dog, or, they might think that the term bad is bad in the negative, in the traditional negative definition of bad, where really for some it's bad meaning good. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's no more clearer than on social media right now, where we can easily Google a meme under the, the bad bitch, connotation or meaning, and you get all these kinds of memes that pop up. And one of them that stuck out to me was, oh, you're not a bad bitch, you're just a bitch that's doing bad. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes,
it depends on where you're looking at it from. So yeah, I definitely understand how it could have some type of a negativity behind it.
Well, I really want to get into some of the content of your essay because some of our listeners may not have had the opportunity to read the essay, although I posted the link on our site. But in your essay, you say, and I'm quoting here, there is a stigma associated with being a bad bitch that delineates the type of character women want to associate themselves with, as if being goal-oriented, driven, and alpha is a bad thing. Here's what happens when women place societal isms on other women. We become competitive. We become unfriendly. We begin to other. We become the mean girls that tell other girls they can't sit with us. We become bitter. We become petty. We become categorized in means. We become fetishized through a patriarchal lens on what real women should be. Now, you've gotten a lot of flack from readers who don't necessarily condone what Cardi B or women like her do and say that they lack class, education, morals. What do you say to women or individuals in general that are quick to place judgments on these women based on what they see for an hour on the television screen?
Who are we to judge? That's my first thought that comes to mind because, I'm not a stripper. I'm educated. I'm a mother of 4 boys. I work full time. I don't live the life that Cardi B lives, but I know women like her. And you know what? I have friends that are the Cardi B's in my lives that I have respect for as women, that I do not judge. And so when I started this essay and I wanted to focus on this context and this stigma, it was basically saying, who are we to judge? I think that what we do is we create this singular vision of what a woman should be. You know what I'm saying? And once we have that vision, it's so difficult to see beyond it. It's like, no, you can't be ratchet, or you can't be loud because that's not womanly. That's not what women do. Or, you know what, you can't enjoy sex. That's not what women do. You can't talk about sex because that's not what women do. That's not classy. And I think that when we're doing that to other women, that's oppressive. Because what's not for you doesn't mean it's not for another woman. You know what I'm saying? And I think once we understand that there's no singular way of existing in our womanhood, and we can allow the other woman to rock and be who she is without shaming them. Because what comes out of this, when we start with, oh, she's classist, she's uneducated, and we start shaming these women, then it becomes bullying.
I definitely agree with that.
That's where I was coming with this essay, not so much as, oh, I'm co-signing Cardi B's whole life and, whatever she's doing, because I don't live that life. But also at the same time, let's respect her individualism to do whatever the hell she wants to do and
now,
not worry about it.
I want to interject here because she is now, in the public eye. And so when you put yourself out there, in that way, you open yourself up for judgment, and you open up yourself, for people to make assumptions about you, about your life, about what you should or should not be doing. And, she is on a really hot TV show right now. I mean, a lot of the younger generation, watches Love and Hip Hop. And a lot of these shows, they seem to glamorize that type of lifestyle. Now, do you feel that she should be a little bit more aware now of what she's saying, how she's portraying herself? Because now she has, young girls looking at her. She may somewhat, be a so-called, role model. Not that she wants to be a role model, but, it is what it is. When you're out there and you're garnering a certain amount of success, the young girls and people in general are going to look at you and they may want to emulate what she's doing. Is that the type of image we want, to kind of portray to the younger generation of young women coming up?
I mean, was Madonna the type of image that we wanted our girls to emulate. And I remember when I was growing up, she was what was popping. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I listened to her. I watched her videos. I wanted to dress like her. You know, she made a very, she was a very huge influence on my life as a young girl. You know what I'm saying? I think what happens is that we use the term role model so loosely. Like all of a sudden we want everyone that's, you know, in TV or in sports or in music to become role models, and that's not necessarily what they sign up for, you know. So granted, let's also remember that Cardi B is only 23 years old. She's still very much learning how to walk in these big shoes that she has on, because now she's this huge, you know, TV personality. She was huge before Love and Hip Hop. She had Instagram following of 1.5 million viewers, and that was just off the strength of being who she is. She wasn't on Love and Hip Hop before that. Love and Hip Hop came to her and was like, listen, we need you on the show. Why? Because you're marketable. Why? Because there's other girls out there like you. Why? Because somewhere in this ratchetness, in this loudness, in you know, in this being who she is, there's a message there. And one thing that drew me in when I was researching Cardi B was that she didn't hide from it. She wasn't embarrassed, and she says, who I am. And one thing she said is, and I love Michelle Obama. I love our, you know, our POTUS, you know. And one thing that Cardi B said was, I cannot relate to Michelle Obama because she's not from where I'm from.
And that's that's a valid statement, you know. And there are, you know, and I'm sure that there are many young women who can relate to Cardi B. You know, they watch her on TV every Monday night, you know, and she is a representation of who they are. Right now, though, it looks like we have a caller, so I want to bring this caller in and see, you know, what question or comment they have. So
Sure.
Connect them in. Hi, caller, you're on the air. What's your name and where are you calling from? Hello. Okay, maybe they chickened out. Hello.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, we can. What's your name and what's your question or comment?
First of all, I am not a chicken and out type of person.
You're not a what?
I didn't chicken out, I said.
Oh,
I had it on mute.
Oh, okay.
It's Cynthia.
Hi,
okay,
Cynthia.
Hi, Cynthia. How are you? First of all, I absolutely love your blogs, and I've read other ones that I've agreed with and shared and support, and I support this one as well, even though I don't fully agree.
And
but
that's
you
fine.
said, yeah, of course. I mean, of course, I blog too. People often don't agree with me, so it's cool. But you've said so much so far, but one thing I do want to say is I can relate to this young lady, and I didn't know she was only 23, which I think that she will evolve from this place. But I do have a problem with the word bitch. If people are saying it to each other in my presence, I don't judge it. I don't say, oh, my God, why you keep saying it? I let them be. If they call me a bitch, and they're like, oh, bitch, I'm like, you know what, I prefer you don't call me that. We're still cool, but you don't address me that way. But a couple of points I want to make. You made the point about taking ownership of the word bitch. Well, is that what you feel about the word nigga? Because that's the same type of argument that's being made for that word, which is still very offensive and very demeaning. And people fought very hard to not be labeled and called a nigger. So I feel like, you know, many women feel kind of that same way that people feel about that word. The other thing about this young lady and all her 1.5 million followers, yes, she was marketable, and I personally, and don't get me wrong, I think that she may have an awesome message, especially as we learn more about her and as she evolves, but I don't think the show came to her for that reason. It came to her because she could make money. They saw money before they saw message. That's what this industry is about, and I can say that because as Nancy knows, I'm currently on a reality show that is not ratchet. And as much as the world says they wanted to see positive black women, they don't, because they're rejecting us left and right because they rather have the love and hip-hop.
Yeah.
So what they saw was money because we have a message. They don't want us.
And that's
definitely a capitalist society. I mean, it's definitely a capitalist society. Mona Scott Young found her niche, and you know what? She ran with it.
Yeah.
And she's
and
positing
it's going to make, people want to see that. I mean, I don't want to say, I think it is unfortunate when there's no balance.
Well,
there's
you know
no
what?
balance.
I think this, it has there's two sides to every coin.
There's definitely two
and
sides.
You have to, while Mona Scott may be profiting off of these young people, quote unquote, ratchetness,
they also make a profit.
At the same time, they
not
are
equal
also
to what Mona Scott Young is making, but they make a profit off of it as well. And you know what? Let's be real. It's definitely more than what they were making doing what they were doing before, which is why a lot of them agree to appear on the show.
But I also think that if they go into this with more of a business mind, they can really parlay this 5 minutes of fame, of ratchetness that they're getting, into something bigger for themselves. I think about Drea Michelle, the basketball
and Evelyn LaFleur is doing excellent.
Evelyn Lozada.
Exactly.
I mean, look at Nene Leakes. She was a former stripper before she did the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
And this is important.
Go ahead.
Because just for the record, I don't have if a woman chooses to strip or whatever, I don't have a problem. And I don't judge the process. We all have a different process, and if I told the stories of all the things I did before I got to this place in my evolution, people, I might have been more. I probably was more relatable to this young lady, actually, cardi-b. I don't know her, haven't seen her much, but I have a hunch I was probably a lot like her. You know what I'm saying? But you do have to grow, and that's why I said her being 23.
Definitely.
It's
and
okay.
That's why.
But we were talking, on the thread, we were talking about empowering and all this stuff. Now, I am an outspoken woman. I am an independent woman. I am an alpha female. I am somewhat in control of my own sexuality and outspoken about it, and I educate women about it and all those things. However, I still don't consider myself a bad bitch. But I do understand that there may be people out there who may see me and say that and feel that in a positive way. But
exactly.
I think it's a positive. I don't like it. You know what I'm saying?
I totally get it. Listen, I don't refer to myself as a bad bitch either. You know what I'm saying? I'm a mother of 4 boys, and the last thing I'm referring to myself is a bad bitch. And I'm very, I watch that word, especially in my home, because I have 4 boys.
Right.
And I'm raising 4 boys to be respectful towards women. So it's not a word that's used that I throw around in my home at all. But I understand that it's a word that's being used right now in pop culture a lot to describe women that are, doing big things and taking control of their financial affairs and their sexuality and their business affairs and their what's happening right now. So I also understand and keeping my ear in tune with what's going on with, pop culture in our society, that it is a term used to define some women that have it going on right now. So when I use it as, to label or title my blog, that's what I was getting at. Not that I consider myself a bad bitch. So
and it was a great title because it made me like, huh? Like,
it pulled you in. That was the purpose.
It did. It was perfect. What got me was, why women love to hate on the bad bitch, and I was like, well, wait a minute. Because I don't necessarily hate. Of course, I personalize it. It's like, I don't hate, but I do feel that
it was a very smart marketing tool, that Maria used to get people,
I feel like, you don't mean to
curious.
be a role model. When you're on TV, you may not mean to be a role model, but you are. Automatically, you are, especially when you have 1.5 million people following you.
And I think that she's starting to realize that, because if you hear her now when she speaks and she does her public speaking, she does talk about the side effects of stripping, and she does talk about regretting not getting an education, and she wonders where she would have been if she would have just stayed in school.
Wow.
So there are certain things that she is well aware of.
You know what? She's a survivor. She's a survivor.
If we all think back to when we were 23 years old, we were probably all doing a lot of the same things that she was doing, but we didn't have a camera on us. We didn't have the popularity of social media, where everything is pictures and videos and being posted out there. And thank God Jesus that that it wasn't back then.
No, you're right.
Because if you ask anyone who knew me back, I'm sure that they may use the word ratchet to describe me. But as you've both said, it's an evolution, it's growth. And as you have more experiences, you start to change, and sometimes you change unconsciously. It's just part of growing up. But Cynthia, I really want to thank you for calling in and for voicing your opinion.
Great hearing from you.
We only have Maria for 5 more minutes, so I want to get a couple of more questions.
Bye. Bye. Good night.
But she really touched on a lot of great ends.
And one thing that touched me was that she said that she's on a reality show that I guess depicts another side of reality show that we don't get to see, which is the empowering woman without the fighting, without the cursing, without the the overt sexuality, and I get it, and I wish that we could see that picture as well on TV, and we don't.
And
I definitely get her side of the story.
But I mean, it's all about again entertainment, also, really. People.
Let's look at hip-hop.
Like to see.
You know what I'm saying? It's why conscious hip hop is not profitable right now, so they say, and I use that loosely because I really don't know the numbers. And it's why ratchet music, hip hop is on the radio and is in heavy rotation because that's what the mainstream gravitates to. So I definitely get it. It's the same thing with reality TV. Nobody wants to see the positive images of women. They want to see us turned up fighting over men and over money and everything else.
As I was preparing for tonight's show, I went back and I read, some of the comments that you've gotten. And one of the comments that I read said something that, in my opinion, holds some truth to it. And we've been kind of talking about it tonight. And the comment, the person that wrote, and I'm quoting here, "I'm not down with the staged cookie-cutter storylines, tired love triangles, men with their infidelity issues, deprecating behavior, women belittling other women, pettiness, cattiness, etc. Ridiculously obnoxious, yes. Mindlessly entertaining for the millions that tune in, no doubt. Although she seems to be the epitome of ratchet, there is something about this girl, Cardi B, that draws me in. I say all that. I say all the time she's a friend in my head. And dare I say, in a sense, a caricature of what a lot of people want to see in themselves or others, less the ratchetness that is either played up for TV or just her real-life self. Whatever it is, she owns it, flaws and all." So what is your opinion, when it comes to people like this who say that a lot of this, is staged by the producers, that it kind of, somewhat questions the authenticity of
I'm sure some
the
of it is staged. I'm sure some of it is staged. Listen, I'm sure when Yorma and Cardi B met up at that party that was staged, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure they knew that these two girls were going to bump heads and they were going to go at it. I'm sure that the fights are staged. My whole thing is that Cardi B's personality is genuine, and you can tell from the jump. You can tell from watching her videos. You can tell from watching Love and Hip Hop. You can tell from going on her website. Like, her character does not falter. This is who she is, and this is what's drawing people in. Not that the fights are not staged or anything else on the show is not staged. She might be the realest one on that show, and that's why people are like, yo, I know this chick. She's from the Bronx. She's from Harlem. She's from Brooklyn. Like, this is my sister, my cousin, my best friend. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, and I think that when we have these conversations on women and say, well, I can't, F with her. She's classless. She's not educated. What about all these other girls that are Cardi B's out there? So what you're saying is they're not, equal to you. Why? Because they're hood. They're ratchet. They didn't finish. They don't have a college education. They didn't finish high school. They had to strip for money because they got fired from their jobs and couldn't make ends meet.
It's very easy. It's easy to judge when
it's very
it's not you. When you're not in that person's shoes.
Not everybody wants to be a mom. Not everybody wants to be taking care of the house, and that's fine. That's fine for those women that want to do that. And in turn, we should respect that it's okay for those women that want to own their sexuality and have fun with it.
Well,
I'm good.
I mean,
I'm not stripping. You know what I'm saying? So I'm good. But
well, we've
I think that's what it
coming
comes
towards
down
the end
to.
of your time. it's the 30 minutes already up. Can you believe that? Like, the time goes by so fast.
It's so fast.
But before I let you go, I just, real quick, what is the one takeaway you want people to get from your essay?
When people read this essay, I just want, as women, and I've even had some men come at me, but, I really want to talk to my sisters out there. And one thing that kept coming to my head was, in reading all the comments and everything, was that there really is no singular way of existing in our womanhood. There is no way of being, whether you're a bad bitch or a basic one, which is another term, but that's a whole nother story.
Right.
That's another show. Let's respect each other. Let's respect each other. Let's respect that we're all individuals entitled to make our own decisions. And that's what, let's stop the shaming. Let's stop calling each other names and criticizing one another for our life choices. And that was the takeaway from this.
And I think that your essay has sparked some much-needed dialogue around, feminism, sexuality, what it really means to live in your authenticity. And I know that tomorrow night the dialogue continues on Twitter.
It will continue on Twitter
as you host your first Twitter chat. Right? You're gonna be using the hashtag cardi-b effect.
So it's CARDIBEFFECT, Cardi B effect. I will be hosting a Twitter chat right after Love and Hip Hop. So get your Love and Hip Hop fix on at 8 a.m. and hook up with me on Twitter where we continue the conversation on the Cardi B effect.
Yeah. And let our listeners know how they can connect with you.
If you want to connect with me, I'm basically on every social media platform. I'm on Pinterest under BK Writer. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, BK Writer. My blog is bkwriter.com, pop culture under a critical lens. So just check for me. And every Monday is when I will be posting a new blog. But because this conversation doesn't want to end, tomorrow, instead of posting a new blog, I will be hosting a Twitter chat on Twitter. So look out for the new blog post next Monday.
Well, Maria, thank you so much for taking time to talk with us tonight.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
And I will be on Twitter tomorrow night.
To talk. All right.
Always,
have
honey,
a good
always.
Night.
All right. Have a good night.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, that was Maria Rodriguez Morales, a.k.a. BK Writer. And as you heard, her essay has really sparked a lot of dialogue around the term ghetto-ness, ratchetness, bad bitch. And, it's very much needed, especially, in this day and age where social media kind of rules everything. You really can't hide yourself. You can't hide from anything, nowadays. So right now we are going to take a music break. But if you want to make a comment or have a question in regards to what we've discussed tonight, the show is going on for a little bit longer, so please call in. The lines are open. And let us know what you thought about tonight's discussion. The number is 347-989-1140, and press the number 1 so you can get put into the caller's queue. Right now, I'm going to play Run the World by one of the fiercest females in the game, none other than Beyonce.
Girl, we run this mother. Yeah. Girl, we run this mother. Yeah. Girl, we run this mother. Yeah. Girl, we run this mother. Who run the world? Who run the world? Who run the world? Who run the world? Who run this mother? Who run this mother? Who run this mother? Who run this mother? Who run the world? Who run then get back to business. You better not play me. Oh, come here, baby. Hope you still like me if you pay me. My persuasion can build a nation. Endless power. Without love, we can devour. You'll do anything for me. Who run the world, girls? 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 Who run this mother? Who run this mother? Who run this mother? Who run this mother? Who run the world?
I think I know. Oh, yeah.
Hello? Hello? That's me.
Hold on a minute. You have it on me? You hear anything?
All right.
Living room flow, play Nintendo with Seasonino. Pick up my phone, say Papa not home.
Okay, so it seemed like we were having some technical difficulties on my end that we've seen to iron out. So I have a caller online waiting. I'm going to patch them in. Hi, caller. You're on the air. What's your name and what's your question or comment?
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, what's
Can
up,
you hear me?
Nancy? What's going on? This is Coach Mike.
Hey, Coach Mike. Thanks for calling in. What's your question or comment? Were you tuned in? Did you listen to the interview?
Here's my whole thing about this with cardi-b, right, is that I have a 13-year-old daughter. And you know what? Even though that, you know, I totally understand that it's not about some of these people, they don't get on these shows to be role models, and that's not what their expectations are. However, you know, as a father and having a 13-year-old daughter, these other girls that are watching these type of shows, I really don't allow my daughter to watch this type of show and this type of entertainment just because I'm not ready to introduce her to that. But I know slowly and shortly I am starting to let her know what's out there, because you can't be blinded as a parent. You can't just say, well, I'm not going to just hide them from everything, because otherwise they're going to be exposed by their friends, and then you don't want that. You want to be able to educate your own kids. But my whole thing is that having a daughter at this age right now in this era is so crucial, so dangerous. And I totally understand, and some people may want to look at it a different perspective, but it's scary. It's scary because, you know, there are some children that don't have some morals and values and may think that what that is being said is okay. You know, again, if whoever's following cardi-b on Instagram, and I find it hilarious. I think it's entertaining, but, you know, at the same time it's sad. I mean, listen, if I ever...
I think that this is her... I think this is her life, though. You know, like, I think that she really is who she is, because there's some of these reality stars who I personally believe are not authentic in who they are. Immediately, Mimi comes to mind from, you know, Love and Hip Hop. I think it's Atlanta, that whole Stevie J and Jocelyn, you know, triangle thing. When we first saw Mimi, you know, she was really this clean-cut, wholesome type. You know, she portrayed this wholesome type of image the first season. And then seasons 2 and 3, you know, she's wilding out. She's out there, you know, putting out sex tapes. Like, to me, she wasn't being authentic in who she was. But then you see someone like Jocelyn, who was, like, just ratchet off the bat, right? You know, she was another one. But she's been consistent, you know, so she, you know, so the image that she portrays, it's really who she is, which I think is the same thing, you know, with Cardi-B. I think that she is who she is. But the danger in that is, like you're saying, you have young girls, 13, 14-year-old girls, who are also on social media and have access, to this person, who may be influenced by her. But,
right.
but by
and
the
thing is,
token,
it's not just, and I don't mean to cut you off, but it's not just that they influence her because, number one, education comes from home. If you depending on schools to educate your kids, then you're just totally screwed up, right? You have to educate your kids from home, and that's where the foundation and the cornerstone comes from. The problem is that people like Cardi B and that type of attitude, right, that affect on other little girls, they tend to take that and become and have this bully type of attitude. And that's where you have, and that's how these affect these other little girls because they think they're that bad bitch that they now take that out of context and they just go overboard with it and they bully these little girls. Bullying right now in schools is a problem. These girls are feeling like they're not worthy, that they're ugly because they don't look a certain way, because they don't dress a certain way, they don't wear their shoes a certain way. So it's really really tough right now. And the thing is that, I totally dig about the authenticity about, they're not in the beginning, like with Mimi, she was portrayed to be this sophisticated and then she kind of got a little ratchet. So you kind of knew that was a little, that was staged. But does being authentic mean that that's being the right way? And not saying, I'm not knocking anybody because people grow up differently. They don't have certain morals and values.
Right.
Like,
well, then that's the thing, Who's to say really what's right? I mean, because we grow up the way we grow up, right? We really don't have any control over that. We're born into whatever situation we're born into, and then we have to learn to sink or swim based on that. For us, for many of us, we're fortunate, to have come from, good families and good upbringings. But the reality is that there are many others who are not as fortunate, they are not born into, great situations and have to figure life out for themselves, and so
but does that make
it may
that
not
okay,
be right.
Do we have to accept that?
Well,
we don't have to accept anything, but then
we don't have to accept it, but then we should not knock that person down either for just trying to live their life. They're living the only life that they know. The hope is, though, as they get older and as they become exposed to different things, that they grow and that they evolve, but that's not something that, is guaranteed. But who are we to judge the next person? I mean, life is so funny. You can be on top 1 minute and at the very bottom the next. And when you're at the bottom, and you have to take care of yourself and you have to take care of family, you don't know what limits, what that you would do to survive, and I think that really that's what a lot of this conversation is around. I don't personally know this young woman. I don't know her story. I don't know what, situations have brought her to where she is, but who am I to judge her? I haven't lived her life. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. It's really a tough one. You haven't lived her life, but I think that, especially with the social media and how children now have access to, we have to look at generations. I'm looking at the future as to what is, a lot of times, we are kind of forced to accept what people are in society nowadays that kind of contradicts with our morals and values, and as opposed to wanting to educate these people and make them better people, and then we emulate that. Some of these people are actually refusing. Well, why are you trying to change that person? Not change. It's just about that. Do I really, just picture if my daughter or if my niece were on Instagram saying, you know what, I suck better dick than somebody else. I'm sorry.
Well, I totally get it, especially as a mother, to 2 young girls. I have 2 nieces of my own, and a lot of the work that I do centers around positive images, you know what I mean? But by the same token, I don't want to knock that young girl who may not have had, a positive role model in her life. And so all she knows is what she's been around. You know what I mean? And so I think that as a society, we should take some responsibility for that, to try to guide them, but not knock them down further. You know what I mean? Like, instead of knocking them down, instead of bullying her or chastising her, shaming her for her choices. Maybe just try to show her a different way, and and give these young women options to say you don't have to live this way. There's another way, there's another route that you can go in.
I totally agree. I'm all for that. It's definitely not chastising it. You don't want to throw stones on it. That's definitely not, the way you want to live. It's just wanting to, show some proper guidance. But the minute that you want to show some proper guidance, it's weird in this world nowadays, because if you want to show proper guidance, then you have stones thrown at you, because you're being kind of looked at as if though you want that person to be a certain way like you, and it's not that. It's just about, just as a woman, just having etiquette. And this is just a reality check to the women who think like, oh, well, she needs to do her. She needs to do her. But guess what? Here's a reality check. Dudes, don't dig that. You want a good man, you're getting tired of getting played. You know what? How about, just act like a lady, have proper etiquette, and then you'll get somewhere for those, and I understand she didn't have that. But, it's just something.
Some women may not know what proper etiquette is. They may not know what it means to be, quote unquote proper. And and unless you're surrounded by these images, you're not going to know. It's only until you get yourself into a different situation in different surroundings with different types of people, that you see that there's something different. But when you only know one way, that's what you're going to learn. I mean, it's like, with babies, they only learn what you teach them. And so so you have this young woman, and this might be the only thing that she's ever been around. Again, we don't know. I don't know her history, so I can't make assumptions, about her. But I get what you're saying, too. But I think that that's where, as parents, we really have to be on top of our own children. If they're on social media, we have to monitor their social media activity. We have to see, who they're following and, what they're looking at, what websites they're visiting, what things, they're listening to on their their iPods. We can't just leave them to their own devices, because kids are going to be kids. Kids are curious. And although, you can be on top of your own kid as much as you want, they still have friends, and those friends may not be as well monitored as you monitor your own child. But that's where you have to, you have to keep the lines of communication open, and you talk to your kids and you say, you know what, just because your friends are doing this does not make it right. And just because so-and-so on TV is portraying herself this way, again, it doesn't make it right. So we have to take responsibility for raising our own kids. I always hear, people talk about, the influence that these personalities have on children. But you know what? These people should not influence your children. You should be influencing your child. At the end of the day.
I totally agree. The same goes for ball players. Even when ball players get in trouble or they get caught for drunk driving, it's the same type of deal. It's like, well, you're a role model and you're in a tough situation, But with ball players, it's a little bit different. They actually studied, they played hard, they worked hard, In this situation, you just got a chick who is just being just who she is, and the show needs to make money. Let's just call it a spade. Tahiri got a little bit old and a little bit played, and they needed something new, something fresh, some young blood that was going to bring some.
I don't know if they got. With Tahiri, I don't know if she got a little bit played more as if she's another one who was probably trying to change her image. So she wasn't down anymore for the ratchetness or for them, using her to portray, that type of ghetto hood, persona. And, and I think that she is evolving, and she's trying to brand herself differently, which is probably why she's not on the show anymore. Because if you think back at the last season when she was on, she was very different, that last season, opposed to when she first started on Love and Hip Hop. The same thing with Evelyn Lozada. She was, the real loudmouth, sassy, hood Latina in the beginning, and then towards the end, I mean, look at her now. Now she, she's like this married, housewife. She's really into fitness. She has, her baby son now. So she's trying to change her image. And I think that that's what happens, for these women who go through these reality shows. I think that they sign on initially because they want the fame and they want to be noticed and they want to be out there, but then as they grow individually, they say, you know what, I'm tired of being used. Because really that's what these shows are doing. These producers are putting them in stage situations, so that they could wild out, basically.
Right.
And I think that with Cardi B, we're probably going to see an evolution in her. It may not happen today, tomorrow, but in a few years, she's going to grow. She's still a young girl. She's 23 years old. She's just now starting to live her life. And right now, at 23 years old, all you think about is having fun. You're not thinking about settling down. You're not thinking about, your future, about children, about any of that. You just want to have fun. And I think that that's what she's doing now. Not saying that it's right, but I think that that's really what it is. And only time will tell.
Yeah, absolutely. Cardi B is going to need a combination of Iyanla Saved My Life and Oprah Winfrey. So,
oh my goodness!
So,
Mike, thank you so much for calling.
Iyanla is going to be the one who's going to be caking off out of everybody, because she's going to be saving a lot of lives. Well, listen, I really thank you and appreciate that you allowed me on this show. This is the first time I tune in. This is great, and BK Ryder's dope. Started following her. I'm really looking forward to a lot of these calls. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you for calling. Stay tuned. Stay tuned to the show. We have a show every Wednesday. Tonight we had this special show because we wanted to promote the Twitter chat that's happening tomorrow night. But yeah, we have a lot of new and exciting things coming this year. So stay posted. Thanks again, Mike.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so we're now coming towards the end of our show. I apologize again for the technical difficulty that we had a little bit earlier, but we managed to get things back on track. And, Mike had some great points that he made, definitely food for thought, and tomorrow, as we said, the conversation continues on Twitter. It's taking place at 10 p.m. right after Love and Hip Hop. So if you want to join in, on the dialogue, make sure you're following BK Ryder and myself at I am Nancy Ruffin, and we're going to be using the hashtag cardi-b effect. So if you want to join in on that discussion, make sure to follow that hashtag. So this concludes our show for tonight. Thank you to all of our listeners and our callers. We truly appreciate you. And, I look forward every week to connecting with you all. Make sure that you join us next week. When we're talking about different types of topics. They're always interesting, refreshing, and always open for great dialogue. And again, if you enjoy our show, please tweet about it, Facebook it, tell your friends to tune in, Instagram it. Just help us get our platform out there, and just let people know what we're doing here. Our goal is always to provide a platform for free-flowing ideas and candid discussions on some of today's most interesting and important topics. And if you tuned in late and you missed the first half of the show, the entire program will be available shortly online at blogtalkradio.com/Real Talk with Nancy. And I am going to leave you now with one of my all-time favorite hip-hop songs, Whoa by Black Rob.
Y'all up on something, man. Yo, when you see something ill, you know what I mean? That shit is woke. Anything ill you see is woke. Nigga have a big six at the curb, that's woke. Okay. Especially if he got the fully equipped kid on it, it's woke. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, I had this bad bitch uptown, she was woke. Had me fucked up in the head, I mean, whoa.
Bought the bitch diamonds and pearls, I mean. Should've seen them shit shining on the wrist. Now money ain't a problem, see my dough is like. Pulled out my bankroll on y'all niggas like. Lost in boots, went from 2 10 like. Faggot wanna peep my blueprints, I'm like. Had to hit the brakes on y'all niggas like. Niggas getting both on my block like. Coming home within a half an hour like. Running like they had the manpower like. More or less. More so, I rip guitar so I live the fast life. Come through in the cross slow like whoa. My niggas like dough, like dro, nitro, my flow, nice clothes like whoa. Ease pain with cocaine like whoa. Now I'm Doc Strange in the range like whoa. 100 miles an hour switching lanes like whoa. Plus I'm getting brain from this chick like whoa. Finger near nigga asshole like whoa. Team floor bitches and bitches like whoa. 9-9 Jag Benz coupe like whoa. Keep them cheese lines on your blocks like whoa. Grenade through your window bitch like whoa. Love to see me do this shit like whoa. Niggas put me through this shit like whoa. So I'ma go toe to toe, blow for blow like whoa. And rip guitar soul, live the fast life. Come through in the ball slow like whoa. My niggas like dough, like dro, nitro, my flow, nice flows like whoa. We bag it, then flip it like whoa. Cars we jack it, then strip it like whoa. Fully equipped, front to back like whoa. Spitting on fiends that come for crack like whoa. Asking for shorts and shit, nigga like whoa. Half on this pork, now nigga that's whoa. Flow so properly, you'll see I'm whoa. Ain't no stopping me, I'm deep like whoa. Guns be poppin', we creep like whoa. Hear my name in these streets is like whoa. Must I pound the concrete like whoa. Fill his bitch ass, head to feet like whoa. Your man ain't whoa. The judge ain't whoa. COs ain't whoa. POs ain't whoa. Play yourself, I get the G.I. Joe. DIC, K-Riders ain't whoa. I rip guitar soul, live the fast life. Come through in the ball slow like whoa.